Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again. Another edition of Inside the Headset as we go up on the plateau. We stay in Region 3A, and we go to where we're going Friday night. Judy, me, and the whole team, and we're going to talk to the head coach of the Cookeville Cavaliers, head coach Jimmy Maynord. How you doing tonight, Coach?
Hey, I'm doing great.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Well, been in our region. I've actually broadcasted a few games, been to your house a couple of times. Cliff Matlock's always been good to me. He's moved on to the middle school. You got a new leader, and he was gracious enough, talked to your athletic director and everything, and thank you for letting us come Friday night.
Well, always glad that we can accommodate you. Yes, sir.
Well, let's talk a little bit about, first off, before we get into it, so we can kind of, just give a little bit about the fans. Talk to me a little bit about Coach Maynord and everything. I was talking to Coach Creasy today and had a card go corrupt, and I'm supposed to call him back tonight. We actually did a show, but the whole video and everything, that's another story. But anyway, you played, you coached against him over at Smith County when he was at Trousdale. Talk to us a little bit. How did you get to Cookeville, and talk to us a little bit about Jimmy Maynord?
Well, I don't like to talk too much about myself, but this is year number 40 for me as a football coach. I started 40 years ago at White County. I was an assistant coach there for 6 years, and then became the head coach. I was there for like 4 years as the head coach. And at that time, White County was in the region with Oakland and Riverdale, and there wasn't that many. There was only Smyrna and Laverne at that time back in those days. And then, of course, everything has grown since then. But I left there, and after 10 years, and when Gary Rankin took over at Riverdale High School, I came to Riverdale with him as his defensive coordinator, and stayed there through the 94 season for 5 years. I guess that 94 years season is the year that we were state champions. I left there and took a head coaching job at Upperman High School, and kind of got that program turned around, and I stayed there for 4 years, and then I left and went to Smith County, and I was at Smith County for 14 years there as the head football coach, and actually 10 of those years I was the principal and the head football coach, and then these past 7 years I've been at Cookeville High School. So, it's 40 years is a long time. It doesn't seem that long, but made a lot of good friends and coached a lot of good football players along the way.
You have, and what a great trip! You at Smith County. Coach Rankin was at Smith County, and then you've kind of been around. Was it Upperman, and you played them Friday? Yeah, you've been around 40 years. How much longer do you think you'll stay in it, Coach? Not to.
Gosh, I don't know. It's a long time to do it, and I still enjoy it, and I just every year when the season is over, I reevaluate everything and kind of make that decision at the end of the season.
Well, Coach Creasy told me today, he said, let me tell you something, Stork. He said, at Trousdale and Smith County, they used to get into it. And he said, the one thing you got to know about Jimmy Maynord's team is Coach Maynord's going to do it his way. He has a certain philosophy. Those boys are going to do certain ways, certain things. Talk to us a little bit about that. And I did not know that when we talk about Cookeville and everything. It's what is that philosophy that Coach Creasy's talking about?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what he's talking about. I think obviously if you're going to win football games, you've got to be strong on defense. I think that's where it starts. You have to be a good defensive football team, and I feel like you got to be able to run the football. I know that things obviously have changed over the years with offenses. They're a lot more spread out now and a lot more passing game and things. But I really feel like that part of the game has not changed. If you can't play defense, you're probably not going to win a lot of football games. So I think you really got to be a good defensive team and be able to run the football. Just because there's nights that weather and has an effect on the passing game and obviously you got to be balanced. But I think those are two things that. And you've got to be a disciplined football team. I mean, that's just a kind of a cliche, I guess. But you do have to be disciplined, and do the little things. It makes a difference in a good team and a great team. The little things that you have to do and make sure that you're doing those little things because that'll win football games for you.
Cliff Matlock last year told me when we were setting up, said Stork were awful young, and you had a bunch of sophomores. Now those kids are juniors. Do you still got all of them, and are you still just as young as you were? But a lot of people say you were 2 plays away from 2 wins these first 2 games you played of 2019. Talk to us a little bit about the Cookeville Cavaliers and this year's team.
Well, we're a little disappointed that we're 0-2, and that's correct. We were a few plays away from winning those football games and just didn't make the plays at the right time and had some mistakes. But we are a young football team. Our whole offensive line we start 4 juniors and a sophomore in the offensive line. We had an injury to our starting center in the first scrimmage of the season. He broke his foot last year, about the 8th game, and broke a bone in his foot and had to repair it, and went through the whole off season rehabbing that, and thought he was going to be good, and actually refractured the same spot. So he's had surgery and had that repaired. So we've had to bring in a sophomore to play center for us, and besides that, we got one other kid. We returned 2 offensive linemen that started for us last year, so we're very young there, and one of them was hurt. So we're basically playing with 4 guys there that does not have much playing experience. And our quarterback has been a great player for us. He's a junior. We're a very heavy junior football team, and still playing some sophomores. But we are a young team, and I think it shows. We've got to, as I said, told our kids this week, we've got to learn to get out of our own way. I think that's been the biggest problem we've had, is we've been our own worst enemy. We've had 2 really good offensive productions. The first game against Upland, we had over 400 yards of offense and never punted the football and lost a football game. I don't think that's ever happened to me in my whole career. And in the Livingston game, we have the ball on the 1-yard line, and we don't convert and score, and we have it on the 1-yard line going in at the half and try a field goal and snap it over the holder's head. So we have some things that's gone wrong for us. But our kids are working hard and playing hard, and we hopefully will, at some point during this season, we'll end up being a pretty good football team. But we're not there right now, and we know that coming into this week's game with Riverdale, I know that they've got a team that's got a lot of starters back from a year ago. They're a very senior, heavy football team, as was Upperman and Livingston. Both of those teams were really heavy senior teams, and we're just unfortunate that we're sitting here right now at 0-2, and that's not the norm for us. We usually get off to a pretty good start, but it is what it is, and we just have to keep working and try to grow from it and learn from it.
You was talking about those kind of freshman folly mistakes or whatever, and you hike it over the you're going for a field goal and hike it over the holder's head, or what you're trying to do there, and things like that. Those are fixable, Coach. I mean, the things you're talking about, it's not like we got to you go in the back room and create another human being to take other people on. Those are fixable.
They are, and that's what we've done. We watch film, we study film, we show these young men, the mistakes that they are making, and we've just got to, like I said, we've got to get out of our own way. We've got to, we're getting some foolish penalties and just doing some things that are not, going to let you win football games, and we've got to get past that. That's our job as coaches, is to try to get those things corrected, and players have got to, try to buy into what we're trying to do and fix the mistakes. We can't play for them, and we know that. And they know that, so they're going to be the ones that have to get the mistakes corrected. But you're exactly correct. Those are things that are fixable, but the players have got to be able to fix them.
Well, I cheat a little bit. I talked to Donnie Webb, and I've yet to see Riverdale, and anxious to see him, but I asked him how their quarterback played, and seems like he played pretty good. He went 15 for 15. When you take a look at Taylor Yancey and the Riverdale Warriors, what do you think about him?
Well, they're obviously a very good offensive team. They do a lot of things that stresses your defense. There are a lot of they run the football well, and their RPO game is really good. They play action pass you, and been very impressive. I mean, they have not been stopped. They haven't been slowed down, and they're a very good team. And then on defense, they've got a lot of guys that are very active on defense. I know the Nelson kid is an excellent football player, and actually coached his father, Junior Nelson, there when I was coaching at Riverdale, doing the defense at Riverdale. Played defensive tackle for us back a couple of years when I was there. And but they've got a good football team, and we knew they would because they have a lot of returning starters from a year ago, and they were a young team. And looking back at our last year's team, talked about that a minute ago. We replaced 23 out of 25 starters a year ago, and which I've never had to do in all my years of coaching. That's a lot of kids to replace. We lost off of the team the prior year that run that 110 game. Went to the third round. That was a good football team.
Boy, it was. I love. Yeah, that's a feisty bunch of kids, man. They'd knock you cuckoo, man. You had to watch it.
Yeah, that was a good group for us, and we replaced that group, and we replaced them with several seniors that had never played. So, again, we're real young, and we just got to try to grow and get better. But Riverdale is the question you asked. That they have an excellent football team. I think they're definitely a team that can be a contender within our region for sure.
Coach, we will look forward to seeing you Friday night and look forward to seeing the Cookeville Cavaliers and watching them perform. Thank you for letting us come, and we'll see you Friday night.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you, Coach. Good night.